Well, I hope that one day I don't get a human rights group called Robot Rights Group.
Yeah.
That
It's going to
would
be here. Like in 5 years, we're going to talk about it on the podcast.
Work-life balance, please. Hopefully no one comes out and later decides to use these robots and to demolish humans and then later have a Nobel Prize for that. The Robot Nobel Prize because, oops, we did a mistake.
Yeah.
Robots should take dangerous, dirty, and draining tasks so humans can focus on the higher work. If you take someone's money, which is a very interesting rule.
Always pay them back.
Yes, don't take money of VCs.
Hey TrickCasters, this is Alex. This episode is going to focus on humanoid robots. Now, I know humanoid robots is something that often we think of this dystopian, dark Terminator future, but there's going to be a couple interesting companies that we're going to cover that are building humanoid robots that are very humane. They're potentially even capable of reading people's emotions, like let's say in old age care or in medicine. And the second story we're going to focus on is the Qualtrics acquisition, specifically the people running the company, Scott and Ryan Smith. Their story is incredible about this family-run business through companies like Qualtrics, which is one of the leader in customer experience worldwide. It might add an extra dimension to humanoid robots that they can actually interpret human emotion. Very interesting to see the story developing. Stay tuned. And if you haven't watched our last episode, this is kind of a continuation where we talked about Elon Musk's approved $1 trillion paycheck, OpenAI's $1 trillion valuation IPO, and an interesting topic, very important, about the EU Democracy Shield, which is supposed to protect the European Union from all kinds of misinformation and disinformation. So make sure to check the last episode. Otherwise, without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this show. And if you ever want to skip to a particular part, you can check in the description of the episode and jump straight to the section that seems interesting to you. All right. Hope you enjoyed the show. See ya. Well, speaking of workers, I think that's going to be a good shift into the first major topic for our conversation today.
Ain't this cute?
Yeah, to give basically our audience a bit of a background. So this is the 1X humanoid robot called NEO. It's a bipedal, meaning it walks on two legs. It's obviously a robot which is designed for home use. There's been some funny videos of it, kind of lagging to take the dishes out of the out of the dishwasher, and But anyways, it's a cool product. It's very let's say, scary looking, like we see in Ex Machina or these other movies. And yeah, what are your thoughts about it? What door does it open for us over the next several decades, Samir?
And starting with the end of mind, like we started in the beginning saying, so we are delegating work to robots. It's very clear. And getting lazier, I guess, but it's fine. But it's a dream for every housewife and every person at home, single or married or whatever, that you have a butler actually taking care of the office work or the housework for you. So I would love to see that. Actually, it's cute. It's cute. I would love to see it working. Unfortunately, it's only pre-order now, so we can only see it next year. But as you know me, I started digging in the story behind. Who's behind that?
And tell us maybe just one quick thing. I'm not sure if you recall, it was one of our early episodes and we made a joke, something along the lines of, we thought that AI would take care of our dishes and our laundry so we could focus on the activities we like. But turns out it's doing the activities we like. So we are stuck doing dishes and laundry now. And now we have the answer to that problem, right? You have your own humanoid personal assistant in the house doing all the chores that you don't want. So tell us about what is the leadership story behind this. And yeah.
This time Europe. This time it's Brent Pornish. He's a Norwegian, homegrown in Oslo. And actually, Neo was born in Oslo too, before it moves to the West Bay. Brent Pornish is an engineer. He's a graduate of engineering of robotics in reality. And he started this dream 2014. I just get inspired when I see people having a clear mission and working behind it and are able to talk about it properly and take it there. So he has really some nice actually quotes when he starts talking about what drives him to do things and why is he doing that. And he said robots should take dangerous, dirty, and draining tasks so humans can focus on the higher work. And it's a world where actually robots and humans should augment each other, not replace each other. And I see that very deep, and I think it reflects why he have done a safe robot, if you can call it this way. It's not Optimus here, what we're seeing. It is, can you see it? It's like soft.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's
not cold. It's not cold, metal, hard, tough shell, let's say.
So the design criteria of Neo is if it cannot work alongside people, it's useless. That one, I would leave it with a baby, actually. It will be okay, hopefully. But till we test it, but it's as it is without the power on, it looks like a nice toy.
Yeah, 100%. And I like that ethic in mind. Like, for example, again, with Grok, which is XAI, which is Elon's AI company, they want to build the most truthful, let's say, AI because truth is important. And back to what you were saying earlier, we're at the point where like social media is educating us and socializing us. Now we're at the stage where some people could grow up in the next 10 years where they're asking AI for all the advice and the AI is shaping your thought pattern, right? And how do you think our interaction in the world is going to evolve when there's 10 AI companies having 10 different humanoid robots for hard labor, for home chores, for industrial operations? How do you think our society is going to evolve with that?
We will evolve. We'll evolve in a different, creative, innovative way. I've not seen. I don't think there was any time in history where humans were able to do whatever they think they can do at the spot. I think the next generation have a golden opportunity to really like produce and produce massively in reality, almost on every front. Because if we assume what Brent here is saying that should be the mission, is like every dangerous, dirty work would be done by the robots, and we focus on the higher work, which means creativity and innovation and making our life much easier, making our planet much safer, making our food cleaner, and hopefully no one comes out and later decides to use these robots and to demolish humans and then later have a Nobel Prize for that because we're gonna call it the robot Nobel Prize because oops, we did a mistake.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, I think the new generation with code education system needs to a little bit change and adopt for that. Will have much bigger opportunity to produce.
And the doors just opens as well. Because I thought about this. I try to look around the corners. If I have extra money lying around, what ideas, what businesses can I invest it in? How can I benefit from this in the future? And the topic of universal basic income comes up. That what happens if they take all the driving jobs with self-driving trucks, all the cleaning jobs, with neo robots doing your house chores, with all the labor jobs, construction jobs. And that's actually fantastic because maybe human life will be safer that you don't have a guy breaking his back carrying bricks all day, right? So I thought, how can people benefit from this? And I thought, okay, you can buy stocks in this company. You can buy stocks in Tesla. You can even own these eventually when they become cheaper. You can have almost a whole fleet of construction workers. And your business could be you and 10 robots where they're programmed to deliver a certain design of a house for people in your neighborhood. And you're now the local construction guy, where these guys are slaving. Let's say slaving, not in the bad meaning of the word, but they're working for you 24/7 doing this. And again, jobs are becoming replaced. How do we economically make it work? Do we have a universal basic income? Does everybody get the government check every month? Do we have some kind of a plan like we discussed before where from your birth you get a certain amount of stocks in certain companies and then when you're 18, you're living off the dividends? Or how do you have any thoughts on that, Amir?
First of all, I hope that one day I don't get a human rights group called Robot Rights Group.
Yeah.
That
It's going to
will
be here. Like in 5 years, we're going to talk about it on the podcast.
like it's just like robot rights and like let's have robot unions and try to make sure that they have a work-life balance, please. So I don't think that anyone should get money if he doesn't work for it. We should find the new ways of doing work to make the world a better place. And I with a different lead, maybe it's 1,000 times different, is the following. When the first machine was invented, it replaced the manual work. So before the machines, the workers were doing the work with their hand, and one job would have taken 10 workers. And then when we created the steam engines, the job would actually need a button. That dropped maybe 20 jobs along the way till we reached that the job that was needing 20 people to lift it was replaced by one person pressing the button.
But maybe we have 15 people now involved in different areas building the machinery and the tooling and the gears and the assembly line that supplies this factory in the future.
Exactly.
So humans
So
are adaptable. We are the most adaptable creatures on this planet. But I like what you said, if I can jump in again, having foresight of the end goal in mind, right? A lot of these politicians were watching, these speeches and big talk, but a lot of them are gentari, like they're in their 70s and 80s. When you see, for example, in the past, I had depositions of Mark Zuckerberg of Meta in court, basically. And the questions they ask are, pardon my French, so dumb that a 10-year-old has a better understanding how Facebook works, with it. Like they're so clueless. So do you think, like, we see guys like Palmer Luckey, we see guys like Elon Musk getting involved in bigger and bigger roles in the government in our future? Do you think that will open up the door for younger people with great ideas to push through and actually start making a change? Like, it seems like we're on the precipice of that old generation leaving those positions of power and hopefully good, ethical, young, intelligent people coming to leadership.
what you said earlier was somehow on the line of most of the politicians are corrupt, and that we don't trust them, and that's a common thing actually, that people think this way. I'm not saying they are. I'm not claiming they are. I'm just saying people think politics is a dirty business. It's almost as close as drug dealing in the minds of some other people, or actually even drug dealing now is getting legalized. So it's on that edge for people. So I think the real barrier is that there's no interest to join politics. But yes,
Mm,
if the intellectuals are actually started to, or the builders of the new society, if we can call it, we're building a new world now. The people that are building this new world, and they already have a proof that they are democratically elected, by the way. I buy
right.
his product. I pay more money now. And I think if people start thinking along that way of trying to understand what does it mean, like, think about it. If Steve Jobs come on stage now and say, guys, this is right. He had 1.2 billion followers saying yes, because they are already proving, they're not pressing a like on Instagram, or no, they are taking money out of their pocket and they're buying the product and
He's
confirming that.
already earned the reputation. He's accumulated the reputation and the trust over like Warren Buffett, right? If Warren Buffett comes to you tomorrow, Amir, and he says, "Give me every cent in your bank account, and I'm gonna make you
Yeah, there
rich,"
you are, please.
you go sell your house and you loan more money from the bank to give him everything you got, right? You're not gonna ask questions, but
I think this part of people earning their role and their position, the rules of earning the role change it now, and we should change around this.
right.
And in that, on that line of thinking, it's a different skill set to try to think about people.
Mhm.
But people that are thinking of services to their customers, they already thought about people,
Right.
and they can be fit into much bigger roles. And I would love to see more of that. I think what Elon did in the Doge
Cleaning up the
role,
government, yeah.
yeah, was good. He went to the extreme in some places, but on the other places, he was 100% right. So,
Mm.
and actually, even the places he went extreme, he was right. Like, everyone knows what USA does.
Yeah.
So, and but on the same time, the 10% of the US aid that was really going to the underserved people stopped going now. So it went from 90% waste from the eyes of the Doge to 100% no access to support for the poor
Mm.
people on the other side. And maybe that's needs to be rebalanced, but it will take its time to rebalance.
We'll find a
But
way.
but
Yeah.
I'm seeing it becoming brighter, and I don't think that the senior elderly people would actually continue in the driving seats longer
Right.
than.
Right.
But I love what Brent have done here. I think he has his heart in the right place.
Wow. Let's finish off with the last topic. So we have Qualtrics, who spent 6.5 billion to acquire Forsta. And they basically want to create the most comprehensive AI-powered experience management platform for different industries with a big focus on healthcare. So why is the story important, Amir? What should we know?
I if we look at actually Brent Pornish and the empathetic robot, Brent has very interesting leadership style as well, very similar to Balmer, by the way, when he said, well, like, you remember Balmer said, "Show them, don't tell them,"
Mhm.
and Brent says, "Under promise and over deliver," and that's what he lives by. He also says, "Build it for 10 years and not for 10 months." But what I actually focus on when I look at the link between the empathetic robot. How can an empathetic robot be empathetic in reality? Like, can we quantify emotions?
Well, I guess you could to a certain extent based on the user feedback, how happy they are with, with the personality, the empathy level, or maybe yeah, I guess that's one way to do it.
So you try to actually collect it from a survey.
Something like that, yeah. Customer satisfaction survey.
Yes. So, and then if you have this satisfaction survey geared into more emotional collection, then you'll be able to turn emotions into data
Mhm.
and then translate data into actions to the robot. So if you think about it as two languages, a robot that is speaking digital and a human that's speaking emotions, and we want to translate between the emotions to the data, we need some platform in the middle, right?
Yeah.
That platform is Qualtrics. So the mission of Scott Smith was an amazing story behind him, and Ryan Smith, the two founders, which is very untraditional to actually find a father and son founding something together. We've heard about friends, brothers, but father and son finding together, not actually delegating to each other, and found that amazing company, Qualtrics, under the mission, let's turn emotions into data 10 years ago. That's why I liked this story. Like Scott Smith, the father, actually, or Smith, the father of I call him this way. He's a professor actually of data and economics and has his passion. He has a very wild son, Ryan. Ryan was like always out of the house, like leaving everything, rebelling on everything, and then the father got cancer and got cancer on the throat, which is in the heart of his job in reality as a professor.
Mm.
And so the son goes back home and they decide together to work on the father's mission of turning emotions into data, while when the son is coming with all the new generation thing that we were talking about, marrying it with actually the history and the know-how and the intellectuality of the professor. So we literally in this story had a scholar and the magician in reality. So the scholar had the how to do it, and the magician really made it happen. And they came out with Qualtrics with that mission in mind: translate emotions into data. And without the work of companies like Qualtrics, I don't think we can add this extra layer to robotics and AI, the emotions. We in previous episodes we talked about having the senses through IoT sensors,
Mm.
feeling and seeing and touching and thermal and heat and all of that. All of that is still not emotions. The layers of the humans are much bigger than that. And Qualtrics, with their platform XM, actually, is digging deeper into this. We use them almost on day to day, but we don't know about them. The employee survey, the pulse survey, the customer experience survey, all of those actually reactions that you have when you get out of your queue in the airport and press angry face, that it's very bad
Mhm.
queue, that goes to Qualtrics.
Interesting.
And
I had no idea, to be honest.
yeah. And then they take that and collect most of the emotions and put it into data and then gets it into an action plan and give it to you to correct. And part of the most purposeful uses of this is making the AI more empathetic. So that the two stories today is more taken towards this layer of having, let's see if there would be emotions in it. And how do we describe that for them if we translate from emotions to data? And that's the
Mhm.
translate.
Right. Interesting.
What do you think?
Hmm. I think humans are complicated. I think in essence, it's an interesting idea, right? You can look at somebody's facial expression. You can map out if their eyes are dropping or if they're looking up in excitement, right? You can look at their body language. Um, I can't see a new robot with the brain of Qualtrics replacing maybe real human connection and emotion at the workplace. I cannot see this thing being the HR manager because I feel like there's a lot of things that you would consider that sometimes are unspoken, right? Um, it could be that maybe you have a sales team and somebody's underperforming, and the head of sales, he knows something about that person that maybe the HR, the robot, doesn't matter how emotionally in tune they are, they just might not be able to perceive it, right? And there's some intangible things like having a good coach of a sports team that is not that good compared to the other team, but they have that X factor, that motivation, the inspiration, the I think there's something beyond that. And it's a great, probably I'm sure it's got a lot of applications and it's going to become part of our daily life and improve our life in many ways. But um, we still need the human connection. There's still so much that is implied, that is unsaid, that um, your wife or my wife, they don't tell us everything they think. We're expected to read their mind, right? Don't you know, Amir, already that you have been with me for 10 years? Don't you know already that I like or I don't like? I think there's a lot. I think it's hard to completely replace us in that department.
This puzzle in the female feeling, and that's not gonna be solved, man. That's no
No,
robots
no.
can. No AI can fix that. So that has to always rely on the responsibility here. We have that responsibility. We cannot delegate it. No, I agree with you, and I don't think, and I don't hope to, by the way. But it's a step on the way, and that translation is one good direction. Why they are acquiring Forsta now? Actually, Smith the father died, and on 2022, and Smith the son is now running the show. And of course, he's still following with the mission of the dad and working on that. He changed a couple of things from what his dad was actually rules of doing business. Like if you take someone's money, which is a very interesting rule that also generational rule, by the way.
Always
So
pay them up.
yeah, so Scott, the father, like Smith, the father, Scott, was always saying, don't take money of VCs. If you take someone's money, you're going to do what they want. We want to do what we want. Let's grow it first, and then let's go VCs.
Yeah, right.
That was one of the proper pillars or the main pillars of doing the business in Qualtrics. And those direction of doing the business in Qualtrics changed a little bit. Along the end part of his life as well, he started actually getting funds. And that's why the valuation increased, because simply Ryan wants to play the rules of this game. Like doing business on the 70s followed the rules of Smith's game, that you do it yourself and then wait for someone else to buy, and you continue growing it, the family office style. While the rules of the business now is more like use financial money and finance to grow. That drives growth. One of my professors used to say that, and that was not the rules of the business in the 70s and the 80s. So, but why they are actually acquiring Forsta, that's what also has a very interesting angle to that equation. Because Qualtrics was doing surveys everywhere except healthcare. And Forsta is the one doing that for hospitals. Is what you really see. It's where it connects somehow another layer from the layers you were just mentioning between the emotions and the pain. And
so
the diagnosis.
now, on top of your observing through computer vision your face when the AI say something hurtful or offensive, now you can potentially in the future have some wearable like a Whoop strap or one of those things with a needle that basically check your blood sugar level and stuff like that, right? You could have some real-time thing communicating what you're feeling in real time and having this interface that's already got all the workflows, data, everything figured out to just go super deep onto what you're feeling on a chemical level as well, not just visual level.
And here you go. You have added one another layer to the process. So I think if end of mind is to get the robots to feel, somehow we'll find a way to make it happen. I think if I'm in their shoes, I will study some narcissistic people, because the kind of, at least scientifically speaking, so a narcissist doesn't have feelings, he just fake it. Let's create some narcissists on metal and let that be. But Forsta is one of the most interesting companies now taking care of the experience of healthcare and reflections and connecting between the types of patients and their emotions and their reactions to the existing healthcare support. And part of that as well is their emotions again. They have a very interesting advantage as well over Qualtrics. If you have used Qualtrics at some point of time, it has a very poor interface. It's really like done by a scientist in reality. like this is how graphs and stuff, while Forsta is a very pleasant interface, more analytical, more visual, full of videos and text and audios, and gives you more context to what you see in data. So they got their hand in a very good complement to value chain, and they are, I think they should go have a talk with Brent. Both of them, they looks like a VC and looks like a
Collaborate together.
GP. Look, there's a collaboration, something happening here. They think alike, and I think they can do it alike.
Well, I think that's a good way to end it. Let's keep sharing more of these inspirational stories, people who are revolutionaries with great intentions and they have the heart in the right place. I think
Yeah.
that's one little piece that we can play, investing in those businesses, support those companies, talking about those leaders and bringing visibility to those topics. And hopefully one of them is going to sponsor the show one day. But jokes aside, Amir, it's been a pleasure as always.
Same here, Alex. Looking forward to see you next week.
Likewise, likewise. Have a good one in the meantime. Bye-bye.